In the news tonight, decision to relax restriction was carefully mapped out, says PM. Fijians should seek credible information. And Medical Association sets record straight on vaccine-related videos.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nunn.
Bulawanaka, Fiji. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has once again made himself clear that the decision to relax various restrictions around Fiji were carefully thought out and mapped out. Speaking on Radio Fiji One's Nonda Ilalakai program, Bainimarama says some take no notice of current measures which pose a challenge for health officials and the government. Josiah Nanunga reports the government sees these challenges as an opportunity to make Fiji flourish under difficult circumstances.
The current COVID-19 safety protocols have given confidence to the government that the well-being of Fijians is secure and prompted relaxing maritime movements. This turns out as a small window of opportunity for some.
And
let me tell you something, given this opportunity, Dolongan farmers from Koro partnered with Takimai, which earned them $34,056. In the midst of COVID-19, they saw an opportunity to earn.
Bainimarama says the safety of Fijians is paramount.
Government is about serving the people of Fiji. This difficulty has forced us to be innovative and serve Fiji better. You will be better than before. Your faith in us will be rewarded. Keep trusting in us.
The Prime Minister is urging Fijians not to be tempted by pretenders who are fond of spreading misinformation on social media and discouraging people from getting vaccinated. Josiah Nanunga, FBC News.
Fiji recorded a new daily record of 83 COVID-19 cases yesterday, and some new clusters have been identified as well. We now cross live to Kelly Vadala. Kelly, what's the latest development?
Yes, Edwin, as of yesterday, 83 new COVID cases, the highest daily total of COVID-19 infections so far. The Ministry of Health had confirmed there were several new clusters as well, with emerging cases from Nita and Siri and also localities just outside of the Suva containment area. As of today, the Ministry of Health had set up screening zones in some villages in Nita and Siri. All residents in these areas will be screened. Movement in and out of the villages have been restricted. But as of now, we're expecting an update from the Ministry of Health on more possible cases. Edwin.
Naka Kelly. Residents and business owners in Tavua have been reminded to rely solely on credible information in relation to COVID-19, with the Newell supermarket in Tavua closed due to possible exposure to a positive case. Council Chief Executive Sailosi Sawana has urged people to follow updates from relevant authorities. Felipe Naikaso has more.
It's still business as usual for Tavua following the Ministry of Health's announcement, but they're not letting their guards down.
For now, all the shops all the businesses in Tavua, we've been sharing information with the Ministry of Health, Police, DO's office on how to tackle or protect their family members, loved ones, and even the community of Tavua as a whole.
The town has been doing all it can to generate economic activity over the past few weeks, and with the Lautoka border opened now, it's also a positive sign.
All our groceries from Lautoka. It will be also an advantage to the farmers here in Tavua. They can now take their farm produce commodities to Lautoka.
The Western Division has had a few restrictions relaxed. However, Fijians and also the business community have been reminded to not be complacent.
We have to continue because, COVID is here to stay for some time. So we need to now work around the challenges, and we need to abide by the Ministry of Health directives.
Tavua and Nadi are the only two areas in the west that have reported confirmed COVID cases to date. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
And we now join Felipe Naikaso live from the west. Felipe, what else can you tell us about the current situation in Tavua?
Residents of Tavua have also been reminded that if they develop any COVID-like symptoms, they have been urged to stay at home and contact the relevant authorities. With a new case now confirmed in Tavua and also an area of concern identified by the Ministry of Health, the people of Tavua have been put on high alert, especially ensuring they abide by the COVID protocols that are currently in place. And Edwin, in terms of the businesses in Tavua, majority are still open as of today, apart from the high-risk ones. But according to the Tavua Town Council Chief Executive, they will follow any directives given by the Ministry of Health in the next few days to ensure they try to put a stop to or minimize the spread of the virus in the area.
Naka Felipe. The Fiji Medical Association has set the record straight on post-vaccine videos uploaded to social media. Videos show people sticking metal objects on their arm, claiming there is a magnetic pull after they got the jab. Christiana Uluwai reports these videos have no scientific backing.
Videos circulating showing vaccinated people claiming to be magnetic is misleading and should not be taken as a fact.
There's no scientific explanation for this except for the fact that probably the video was highly edited. Vaccines are safe. Vaccines are necessary in our fight against COVID-19.
Naveen Kumar said he took his jab in April and did not face any major side effect.
I didn't find any problem with it, so I don't believe maybe that's fake.
Other Fijians say there is no reason to doubt the validity of the vaccine as it prioritizes our own safety.
Vaccine has been approved by World Health Organization. Everybody's taking it. It's a must.
I think it's important that we take that vaccine because it's there to protect us.
There were mixed reactions from the general public after videos of these conspiracy theories went viral on social media. However, the Permanent Secretary for Health, Dr. James Fong, has reassured the public that the vaccine dose and the needle are both too small to carry a metallic chip, and therefore people should still make it their responsibility to get this life-saving vaccine in order to protect themselves and their families from coronavirus. Christiana Uluwai, FBC News.
Hot Bread Kitchen at the LICI building on Bus Street in Suva has been closed as a precautionary measure. The company says a customer who recently visited the branch later tested positive, adding the reopening of the branch will be determined once test results of staff have returned. It says more information will be released later. A plan has been put together to help control overcrowding at the Sawani border in Naitasiri. This has been done by the Naitasiri COVID-19 Command Center, headed by Subdivisional Medical Officer Naitasiri and assisted by Provincial Administrator and Rokutui Naitasiri. Due to the closure of the border in recent weeks, Sawani had been experiencing a flood of people from the highlands. The Naitasiri COVID-19 Command Center says as a result of limited space at the border and the need to minimize the presence of villagers in any day during the week, the team has drawn up a timetable for crowd control and effective containment systems at the border. Various districts have been grouped together and allocated separate days to come to Sawani to conduct their business. Up ahead, amendments made to Political Parties Registration Act and families struggling to meet daily needs. Welcome back. Amendments to the Political Parties Registration, Conduct, Funding and Disclosures Act were passed in Parliament today. The changes require political parties and candidates to keep proper accounts and be more transparent with their financial records. However, the passage of the bill didn't come without a fight from the opposition, with SODELPA claiming that Fiji First is only trying to solidify its position. Candidates are now required to list the names and addresses of donors. They must also list for them, their spouse and children, total assets in Fiji and abroad as at polling day, total assets from nomination day until polling day, and directorships or other positions in a company or organization.
It is only using the Multinational Observer Group recommendation as an excuse to amendments which it initiates itself to give itself more advantages.
there was a political party. Their agents used to take the voters right up to the polling booth. And in between, the voters are told, remember that whom you have to vote.
Big businesses don't support us. Individuals who may own companies, the money comes out of their accounts. It's clearly shown. Our donation list is transparent. We don't hide it behind some lamb curry night.
Political parties are required to submit details of all assets and liabilities as at polling day and income and expenditure, including all contributions, donations or pledges in cash or kind made from the date the writ is issued to polling day.
The amendment is giving the registrar power to choke the life out of these poor political parties out there.
So the so-called disclosure rules are to expose the names of people who even buy a $20 dinner ticket to provide food for a pocket meeting, if somebody is holding a meeting.
This overall electoral system, which the former leaders of NFP, A.D. Patel, Siddiq Koya, James Madwan, all argued for.
Newly registered political parties will have 90 days to set up bank accounts, while existing ones have 60 days to provide their bank details to the Registrar of Political Parties.
You can have your Soli, you can have your Kachi, you can have your Solowaki in clusters and have it monitored by the police if you want to.
All of us in this parliament have to be concerned about everybody. Whether the person lives in Laos, whether the person lives in Nandera, whether the person lives in Lambasa, and irrespective of ethnicity.
The Electoral Commission is now empowered to mediate or arbitrate campaign issue disputes between political parties. The Sugarcane Growers Fund is undertaking various reforms, including strengthening its governance and policies to ensure growth. Minister for Sugar and Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama says as part of its IT plan, the fund is in the process of rolling out an app for members to check their balances and apply for loans online. Bainimarama says the fund is working on its strategic plan to enhance services. Between 2009 and 2018, the fund provided loans of about $82 million to 37,807 clients.
So low, women still represent 5% of the fund's loan customers. To encourage more women into cane farming, as we've heard in the last couple of days, Mr. Speaker, through the Ministry of Sugar Industry's new Farmers Assistance Program, the fund offered loans to female growers at a reduced rate of 0.5% from normal rates, while special loan packages is also under consideration for women.
Voter cards for the next general election will have special features to counter any form of voter fraud. This comes after the passing of amendments to the Electoral Act 2021, which deals with the registration of voters. The voter card assigned to a person upon registration will contain the full name, photograph, date of birth, residential address, voter number, polling venue and any other information as required by the supervisor. Attorney General Aya Syed Kayum says should anyone be removed from the National Register of Voters, there are ways to do this.
The supervisor of elections is going to remove somebody's name from the National Register of Voters. It gives a step-by-step description as to how he should do it, or she should do it. Whoever it is the supervisor or registrar. They have to send a notice to the person's last known address. They have to give them a particular level of amount of time. And then if the person wants to object. They can appeal to the Electoral Commission. And the Electoral Commission can then review the decision of the registrar, which is the supervisor of elections in this particular case.
So on that note, Honourable Speaker, I would plead with the government, with the Electoral Commission, to relook at the registration. There is no reason why we cannot use this again for 2022. People will know that they voted at a particular point in 2018, and they can always go back there.
A number of families facing difficulties in their daily lives have seen their challenges exacerbated by the second wave of COVID-19. A family of 8 in Wainandoi outside Lami is struggling to meet their daily needs as the only breadwinner is not working. Salasaini Kovunana and her 5 siblings as well as 3 children are relying on food rations to get by. Kritika Kumar reports.
Salasaini Kavunana's husband, who works as a forklift driver, is stuck in Suva and is not working at the moment.
work is hard, like getting job is very hard nowadays, and then like having to stay alive, having to survive every day is like already difficult task. And then with this COVID, like the second wave of COVID, it's more harder than before. Like it just makes life more harder.
Kavunona says they are now resorting to whatever little produce they can get from their farm to get by. The pandemic has also affected 57-year-old Sarila Devi, who has been selling sweets and snacks for 14 years and takes care of her daughter.
We were fortunate enough to get ration from other people. We had little stuff left at home and we are trying to manage with the little we have.
Several charitable organizations and groups have been assisting vulnerable people in these areas. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Coming up in world news, Israeli PM speaks of election fraud. And later in sports, touch rugby aims for gold.
Adhering to stringent protocols has been challenging for businesses working to stay afloat during the COVID-19 outbreak. This has become more prevalent now that the Ministry of Trade and Commerce has introduced non-negotiable measures in order for businesses to continue operating. Lina Rees has more.
Given the increasing number of COVID-19 cases, businesses are grateful to have some opportunity to be able to operate again, provided they meet the requirements.
The ministry has gone out of a limb to consider our requests for our members to be able to reopen, engage their employees, provide employment.
The process started by having online shopping, then on-call shopping, and it will take a while. We understand it will take a while, but we are working on the guidelines that the ministry is giving us.
Providing transportation to employees is one of many requirements that businesses will need to meet. However, this is somewhat a challenge for them.
It's a mixed bag of results in that some of our members have adhered to providing transport, and especially the retailers, they find it very difficult to be able to adhere to that requirement.
We have put a proposal to the ministry. As we were saying that the customers come by bus or in public transport as well, and so our staff would be in the same bubble sort of thing.
Meanwhile, the Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation hope to secure a meeting with the Permanent Secretary for Commerce and Trade to raise questions and work on solutions while at the same time adhering to the measures in place. Lina Rees, FBC News.
Like any other sector, the driving instructors have also been impacted by the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. East Coast Driving School instructor Alvin Prasad says more than 100 driving instructors have been impacted and are facing challenges in sustaining their livelihoods. Shweta Vandana reports.
The driving schools have been closed since March after Fiji recorded cases of COVID-19.
There are more than 100 driving instructors that have been affected at the moment, as a matter of fact. Their main source of income is driving school, and that's the main income source and their livelihood. At the moment, everybody is home, just hoping, fingers crossed, if they can operate again.
Erwin Prasad says several students have also been impacted as they had paid deposits and are waiting for the lessons to begin.
At the moment, we have students who have been who've made their deposit and are also waiting stranded, wanting to complete their course but are unable to due to these restrictions.
Driving school director Zareen Shabnam says they are acknowledging the support provided by the government. However, they cannot fully rely on the assistance.
We all know that we have been affected very badly, and we really appreciate that government is helping us, but we can't rely on that $100 and $50. We, at the end of the day, we are capable to work, and we know that government can allow us to go and do our business, as we will be following all the protocols.
Shabnam says they have also their pending loan repayments. With some business restrictions easing slowly, the instructors are looking forward to operating and are willing to operate under strict protocols. Shweta Vandana, FBC News.
Here, the local exchange rates are set early this morning. The Fiji dollar dropped versus our two major trading partners, the Aussie and Kiwi dollars, as well as the Japanese yen, but it was pegged higher against the other international currencies we cover. Commodities market was on the rise today. Crude oil rose $1 at $69 a barrel. Gold rose a few dollars to close at $1,889 per ounce, and silver was up at $27.76. And we now join Sunifa from HFC Bank to give us the latest figures from the money markets.
Good evening. A quick update of the South Pacific Stock Exchange for last week. About 30,465 shares were traded in 6 listed stock, with 21 transactions valued at around $44,878. Following these trades, the market capitalization for the week recorded an increase of 2.07%, closing at $3.28 billion. It's a rather quiet day in the foreign exchange market today. The US dollar began the week under gentle pressure after a second consecutive month of softer than expected US jobs data reversed its recent attempts at a rally. Friday data showed US non-farm payrolls increasing by 559,000 in May, missed market expectations by nearly 90,000, and seemed to cool worries that the recovery was running hot enough to require early tapering of policy support. U.S. inflation figures due on Thursday will be a major focus for traders looking to glean an insight into just how short-term growing price pressure may be. Another miss of lofty forecast might clear the way for further dollar declines. That's all from HFC Bank for today. Renaka.
And in Growing Fiji tonight, Fiji Rice Limited is set to release its newest product, rice flour, a basic food item previously used in many rice farming households, will soon be available in supermarkets and stores. Eleanor Terangaivu has more.
It's the latest product and ready to hit the market shelves.
Rice flour is basically the refined milled form of the normal rice, and our rice, the beauty about the product is basically it's a natural grain. So we haven't put any added preservative or any chemicals to it, and it got a shelf life of 3 months.
Rice flour is not new to rice farming communities, as it used to be the cheaper and healthier option for many.
Fiji rice is just taking us back to that good old days where we'll have to reuse our skills, come up with new ideas of using rice flour.
Fiji Rice Limited says rice production has increased over the years, prompting them to diversify into other products.
Looking at the last 2 years, I would say, we are now beginning to realize the importance of going back into our own original food recipes. And now, today, we have this rice flour.
The company invested close to $10,000 for the milling machine.
It's a small machine at the moment, basically to test the market. So once the market is growing, then we will invest in more of the bigger machines, basically. Yeah?
The rice flour will be available on supermarket shelves and stores over the next 2 weeks. Eleanor Terangaivu, FBC News.
That is the latest from my end, but coming up after the break, teachers going out of their way to educate children online. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The Consumer Council of Fiji is spearheading a project on inclusive innovations for climate disaster risk financing and insurance to help create more financially secure and resilient communities across the country. The project will educate consumers on financial planning, personal and household money management, savings and insurance. Jeshulal reports.
With many Fijians not being aware of the importance of disaster risk preparedness, Consumer Council of Fiji Chief Executive Seema Shandil says the project could not have come at a better time.
So this project will definitely help ensure there is some modicum of financial security for individuals severely affected by natural disasters.
Women, people with disabilities, and other disadvantaged groups are more vulnerable to the impacts of disasters, and this project will involve them to promote financial inclusion.
This project, all in all, will assist the council to carry out rigorous advocacy on financial literacy.
Some of the members who have been facing some serious challenges. There are a lot of people that are in need and assistance, particularly for the persons with disability.
The project falls in line with the council's efforts to increase financial literacy and helping create awareness on the need to be financially secure. Jeshulal, FBC News.
A group of teachers are going out of their way to set up a social media platform named Read to Succeed to help students with education during the pandemic. Group President Master Josefa Mboa says the group has gained a lot of traction recently, drawing students from around the country to be part of the initiative.
Read to Succeed. It's an initiative by 18 teachers in the Central Division and from Tavua, which has caught the attention of hundreds of parents and primary school students during this pandemic.
The teachers teaching through this platform has never met. Read to Succeed is a platform which engaged active learning for students from early childhood education to year 8. The teachers engage themselves in teaching students through live videos and using available resources to teach a particular topic.
For Tekelawa Ningolo, Read to Succeed has a great impact on her children and keeps them engaged while staying at home.
As working parents, the program is of very great assistance to our children. Our children are able to link lessons that they had been learning before this COVID-19 lockdown. Our children are really enjoying this Read to Succeed program and are always looking forward to their own year or class program.
The platform was established by 4 literacy and numeracy mentors in the Central Division in April this year and now has 22,000 followers. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
The Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission is closely working with relevant authorities to track down perpetrators that were involved in pyramid schemes. Commission Chief Executive Joel Abraham says some cases allegedly involve people overseas and they are working with similar institutions from other countries to address the issue. Abraham says they are working with the Consumer Council, the Financial Intelligence Unit and the Online Safety Commission as investigations continue for the pyramid scheme cases.
We're also now looking at executing documents and notices to mobile companies so that we are able to get data out of the M-Pesa accounts and where money were transferred and to who did it go to. For them, whether you're in Fiji or you're sitting somewhere in Australia or you're sitting somewhere in New Zealand, we'll get you.
And now we join Jamie for the latest in sports.
Vinakayan, good evening ahead in sports. Beba happy to have Nasoko back. And women's touch rugby aim for gold. This and more coming up. The return of former Fiji Sevens captain Kalyani Nasoko will be an added boost for the national side on their road to the Tokyo Olympics. Head coach Gareth Beba has spoken highly of the experienced players named in the team that include Jerry Tuwai, Kitione Talinga, Alessio Nanduba and Nasoko. After fully recovering from injury, Beba says he has been working hard through training sessions and is where he needs to be. Beba adds Nasoko is a significant member of the squad with decent experience in conditioning that will help the younger players.
It's great to see him, back to his leading best in training sessions. Not just in the field of play, but also when it comes to conditioning sessions and leading the players on the standards that are necessary.
The Fiji Rugby Union is embarking on a transformative journey with the world's leading designer, marketer and distributor of athletic apparel, Nike. FRU Chief Executive John O'Connor announcing the 4-year partnership today. that sees Nike becoming its official exclusive supplier of apparel for all Fiji Rugby Union teams. O'Connor has labelled this deal a historic moment for Fiji Rugby.
We are the first country rugby union in the Pacific that's joint partnership with Nike, and we are humbled with this great opportunity. Fiji Rugby has appointed Nike as its official and exclusive team and training kit supplier for the next 4 years, running through until the end of 2024.
After winning bronze at its maiden Pacific Games in Samoa in 2019, the Fiji women's touch rugby team is targeting a gold medal finish at the next Pacific Games. And with the number of women in the sport steadily growing, Touch Fiji says the future looks very promising for Fijian women in the sport. Karleni Tavi with this report.
Though the franchise league has exposed many young talents, the women's team is still lacking the competition needed for the next level.
It's not just about the clubs themselves, but it's about everyone improving for the Fiji team, because our opponents are not here, they are abroad.
Fitness is not so much of a concern for the federation, but they are more focused on the technical aspects of the game.
Not everyone is fitness savvy or fitness freak, but one thing for sure is, apart from fitness, the technical side of the game, the tactics, the gameplay, these are things that you can always improve on as well.
TFF has also noticed the interest to join the sport has grown.
There's hype and there's continuous interest, and so we will try and continuously work with our stakeholders to ensure that the interest is maintained and taken to the next level.
Once the green light is given for sporting competitions to resume, TFF will continue where they left off their franchise touch league. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
The Eels have bounced back into form with a 40-4 win thanks to masterclass performances from Fiji's very own Micah Sivo and Wanga Blake against a disappointed Knights outfit. The Eels scoring 8 tries to outclass Jacob Saifiti and the Knights in round 13 of the NRL last night. Former Arsenal coach Arsene Wenger believes France are super favourites to become world and European champions with victory at Euro 2020. Remember, you can watch all matches from Euro 2020 live on the FBC Sports channel via the Walesi digital platform. Meanwhile, Spain's preparations for the Euro 2020 has been thrown into chaos after Sergio Busquets tested positive for COVID-19. Fijian-born Wallabies number 8 Isi Naisarani bagged a double for the Rebels in a thrilling Super Rugby Trans-Tasman clash against the Chiefs. But his efforts were not enough for Melbourne as the Chiefs ran riot in the second half to secure a 36-26 win at Leichhardt Oval in Sydney. In play of the day, Bristol Bears sealed themselves a home semi-final spot for the Gallagher Premiership after defeating Leicester Tigers 26-23 over the weekend. The first try of the match coming compliments of former All Black Charles Piutau and current Flying Fijian Semiran Ranra. In our quickie sport of the day, flickerball, a mashup of American football, basketball and a few other sports by the looks of it. Here's how it's... That's it from sports tonight. Coming up in Weird and Wonderful, a dog reunites with owner after many months and a 386-kilometer journey. This and more after the break.
A trough of low pressure lies over the group and is expected to affect the country until later tomorrow. It was a beautiful day in the west, becoming cloudy in the afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, some sun in the morning, then turning cloudy with scattered showers experienced late afternoon. In the north, partly sunny with a shower in places this afternoon. At sea, south to southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, moderate seas, moderate southerly swells. The next high tide is at 10:50 tonight, with the next low tide at 5:06 a.m. Sunrise will be at 6:33. For tomorrow, cloudy periods and occasional showers to continue, and the outlook for Wednesday, mainly fine weather over most places. Cool nights can be expected. In Fijian Pulse, we ask, what has changed in your eating habits during this pandemic?
I have noticed a change in my eating habit in that I'm eating a lot now.
During this lockdown period, we seem to be eating a lot because everybody's kind of staying home, you know.
During this time, we prefer food from our plantation.
And recapping our main stories, decision to relax restriction was carefully mapped out, says PM. Fijians should seek credible information, and Medical Association has set the record straight on vaccine-related videos. For these stories and others, tune in to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question, last week we asked, are you ready for the opening of businesses to help support the economy? 52% answered yes. This week we are asking, should those spreading misinformation about the vaccine be charged? Visit our FBC News website to answer. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts. You can also download our FBC app to keep updated with the very latest in news and sports and listen to our 6 radio stations live. That's your news this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe. Modemanda.